There's really not a lot to say about this year's Moto 360. It's an Android Wear smartwatch, so there's really not much different here over similar devices we've seen over the last year or so as far as software goes. The real decision with the second gen Moto 360 is the design. We now have an evolved and matured version, but with one unfortunate similarity when compared to the first generation: that flat tire. Like many, I was hoping that Motorola would eliminate this aspect altogether, but that didn't happen. And if you can look past the flat tire, which ultimately does add to some of the functionality here, there's a lot to love about the Moto 360. First off, like many new Android Wear smartwatches, the Moto 360 is now compatible with iOS devices as well. Motorola has also updated the specifications to line up with its competitors, namely the Snapdragon 400 processor over last year's OMAP chip. But we also have 512 megabytes of RAM, 4 gigabytes of storage, Wi-Fi support, and its IP67 dust and water resistance rating. I would have loved to see an AMOLED display this year, since the Gorilla Glass covered IPS display isn't very power efficient and is damn bright, but nothing special here altogether, mostly what we've had with Android Wear from day one. And if you're not familiar with Android Wear, I'll leave some of my other videos linked below as well, but this review is mainly focused on design. This year Motorola opted to go with two different sizes for its smartwatch. There's a 42mm version and the same 46mm version we've had, but I'm personally a fan of the 42mm version thanks to its sharp 1.37-inch display with 263 pixels per inch, but Motorola claims the battery life may be slightly less than the 46mm version, but in my experience, any of these smartwatches will make it through a full day at bare minimum. Though the wireless charging aspect here may prove to be beneficial if you hate dealing with pin-based chargers and plugs. The new design features a pair of lugs on each end of the watch, which definitely add to its appeal and make it easier than ever to swap out watch bands for your own custom look. And speaking of customization, you can completely customize the look of this watch using Moto Maker now, which I definitely love. I'm a fan of the relocated side button as well, as it's a bit more comfortable to use and the bezel is very minimal, but like I mentioned earlier, you're still dealing with that flat tire syndrome we've come to know from the first generation. Now this flat tire houses the sensors that allow for auto brightness and the display drivers, which keeps the bezel to a minimum, but like it or not, Motorola seems stuck on this design choice. Honestly though, there's really not much else to say here. Android Wear continues to be Android Wear and the design continues to evolve. Whether you're a fan of this evolution is on you, but personally I think Motorola's choices here are mostly good, though I hope the technology comes along within the next year or so to where the choices made won't compromise the overall features and design. It's a good smartwatch though, and you definitely won't be disappointed. They've kept it relatively thin, slim bezels, and added more customization options, which is always nice. The second gen Moto 360 starts at $299 and goes up from there depending on size and Moto Maker options, but with a sea of Android Wear devices, the decision becomes a bit trickier. Which one will you choose? Let me know with a comment down below, and if you enjoyed this review, feel free to leave it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Thanks again for watching everyone. This is Dom, and I'll catch you in the next video.